as a continuation from part 2, I have gotten my missing parts in. So I have the wiring harness for the light up on top that I didn't have. I have the pin kit to add the 2 wires to the rigid chase light on the back so the turn signals will work. I have the fabric, and this is a split loom, so I can just wrap it around the wires very easily. I don't have to slip it over the plug or connector or anything. Should make it real easy. And then hopefully I can show you how the chase light is supposed to work when all the functions are wired. That's the end goal. So let's get going. Alright, I'm going to start with a split loom. You just open it up, put it over it, and work your way down the length of the wire. Alright, now that I got the woven loom installed, I'm going to put a zip tie, probably not that long one, around this end and around the wiring harness that I had soldered into, because I don't want it moving at all to keep the joints from coming apart. So now I can start zip tying. My wiring all in place like that, and I'll just continue on. Alright, I have the end of the connector for the chase light. I have cut off the wire loom just about to the connector. Cut my wires off about halfway past the connector. All you do is pull the 2 white plugs out. If I can get a good grip on it, they just pull right out. They're just held in by that rubber. Just like that. And so now we're about ready for the pins. And I'll show you the pin kit. This is the kit. I bought this through Amazon. Gives you a bunch of pins, a whole bunch of sleeves, connector bodies if you need it. The biggest thing is the crimper. They have several various models. This is the kind of middle of the road. I don't know if you can see in there, but there are 4 jaws that come down together when you squeeze it to crimp the pin or the sleeve on. I have my 2 sleeves that I need to put in that connector. The pins are actually on the rigid chase light itself. They give you a tool to help you pull and remove parts in and out of the connectors. So we'll get this going. So from what I can tell, you just pry this end piece out, and then you can now see where all the sleeves are in. So it should be just as simple as pushing my 2 wires in. It's ironic that I chose blue and green, because those are the 2 wires in the chase bar. And since I have to program these anyway, I don't think it really matters which one's which. But we'll find out. Looks like it's easy enough to pull them back out anyway. So that just snaps back in. I can plug it back in my connector up here, and I'm going to try it out. So you your guess is going to be as good as anybody's at this time, because I have no idea what it's going to do. Turn my ignition on. Turn the chase bar on. Ain't that cool? That's my backup light is flashing. Well, let's see what right hand does. Right hand doesn't look like it's programmed. I'm not sure if I can program it. Looks like it's going to let me program it. Wasn't that cool? Now if I could only see what it was doing. So you can program it. And I'm wrong, because that is the main light. So plan B. To program it, I have to have steady power on the pins. So I will have to make up a cable that I can put power and program each pin. So it'll take a little bit longer, but it's still not too bad. All right, big disappointment. I made up my adapter harness here so I can have power with a program button, program wire. The blue wire is the only thing that can be used. Even though this is a rigid chase light, it was sold through Polaris, and they have omitted those two functions. The actual rigid chase lights you could do this with. For some reason, they did not use the standard rigid setup. The blue wire triggers the bright white light, so if you wanted that on a switch by itself, which I could see that being beneficial, you could connect the blue wire to a toggle switch on your dash that would just turn on the white, and then you would have still the brake, and if you wanted the power on chase function to work, that's all it's good for. And for the amount of money I paid for it, I'm kind of upset that I could not use it for what I thought I could use it for, and there was nothing in the description that said otherwise. So I assumed that this was a rigid chase light set up to work with Polaris's wiring harness. Not the case. So I guess I will undo most of this and put it back the way Polaris intended it to be. And I'll have to think about hooking up the blue wire as a bright white. I'm gonna about be out of switch locations with all the stuff I gotta add, so I don't even know if that's a real possibility. So it might not be worth my time to even finish connecting the blue wire, but we'll see once. I think I'm gonna leave the turn signal wires. I'm just gonna cut them off and pull them back, coil them up, and if I'm adding some other lights on here, I could tie them into that yet, but that will be at another time, and don't even know if I'm gonna do that this year. So we'll see what happens.